Hey there, folks. It's me, Chris, with a Gigman's Life. Yeah, baby. It's a Gigman's Life indeed. And of course, this channel is solely dedicated to the freelance gig economy. You know, rideshare, delivery, hustling on the internet. We're going to talk about it all. You know, the viral videos and the news reports that show what's possibly down the future, or the issues that we need to call out, even the bad actors who are the large corporations not seeing that maybe they should stop listening to the lawyers and maybe take a little initiative for themselves than being greedy little fucks. And of course, this channel is not meant for children, but if you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, it would help us out a lot to grow the channel and get to live videos here on YouTube. But, you know, I can't talk about Big Green. But here's a report out of KTLA5. Can't believe this is Los Angeles, folks.
The couple says someone used the husband's identity to drive for Uber, earning thousands of dollars in his name. And now they're not just dealing with tax headaches, they are raising some really serious concerns about public safety and how thoroughly rideshare drivers are vetted.
Yeah. Because of so many people finding it the easiest way to get out there and make some money. Of course, we've been talking about how, you know, illegals have gotten on to the platform and drive. And it gets dangerous when, you know, this is not even the most dangerous part about it, is that people commit crimes in this person's name. And then the person has to deal with the police, all the, you know, identity theft issues that anybody else does. But this is making me question about why the rideshare companies don't have centers. Why there isn't a third-party company now. This is a new hustle, I think, is a third-party company verifying people as that who they say they are, and having an area where, hey, you can't start working for us until you show up there with your documents and provide a copy. Or the state's going to get in. And California is one of our favorite nanny states, along with Massachusetts, Connecticut, Colorado, a lot of states where they're going to sit there and say, let me ponder this for a moment. You're having people get onto the platform that are not who they say they are. Well, we can resolve this with the electronic book. Yes, the electronic book, where everybody has to sign in to drive. And then if you're working these gig apps, you're going to have to go and register with the state to identify yourself, make sure that all your documents are right, because these companies aren't going to do that. They aren't going to do training that is actually going to prevent that 1% of problems that makes 90% of people cringe when they hear this shit happens. And, you know I try not to use the cursey words, but they're so good, like chocolate. That's why this isn't meant for children. No, it isn't. I just am not child safe. You know, the packaging says 18 and above. But, so, you know, I have to think that this is one of the things I found today as it is just screwballed that, the companies just don't think about anything like this, and it's all reactionary. It's the difference between a friend of mine who, back in the 90s, knocked up a girl and was dancing around the subject. And then one day decided to go and tell me, oh, what would you have done with $180,000 that it takes to go and raise a child nowadays to 18? And I said, I would have spent $1 on a condom. That's the difference between reactive and proactive people. Proactive people plan. Make sure that things are right. Reactive people get pissed off at everything because shit happens and they don't think about what they're going to do about it. And of course, when you have multi-billion-dollar companies just deciding, hey, we don't really need to pay training. We just put videos up and tell people, hey, this is what we expect. Just do the agreement, update the policy, and that's it. That's all we need to cover ourselves. And, of course, I have my dishwasher going off in the background. This is a low-level production, folks. No matter how much you think, I do this for the pure pleasure of doing it. And of course, this is why I'm saying the electronic book is coming, folks. There's no way around making sure that people who they say they are, by not having the government get involved. These corporations are just doing that, and I think technically the corporations should pay for that shit, but you know what happens? At the end all be all, it's the customer who does. Just like the hourly wage we get in Massachusetts and a few other states for doing rideshare, it's always the customer that's going to pay for it. And of course, I'm waiting for a customer to get back. Oh my God, I forgot how magnetic this is. I didn't realize, the case is magnetic. They got a case in my car. I'm waiting for them to get a hold of me because, they're all the way out in the big chairs, and I am not. But they also were not too far picked up from and have friends at a local university college area, so I could possibly go and see if they want me to drop that off with them. It's always just things that can happen. But, that is other stories. And yes, hearing the complaint about identity theft, I've had it happen. I know the hassle it is to go to the police station and file a report because the debt collector doesn't give a shit. They just see a debt that they bought, and they just want the money. And of course, that's the problem in the situation that we see with these problems is if they're not doing it, the company, DoorDash, is going, or Uber, whoever is allowing synthetic identity theft or just plain identity theft, they're going to be held responsible. They really should, because they have not done their due diligence of making sure the people working for them is who they are. No matter about going and taking pictures of the licenses, scanning their face every day, The simplest thing is they need to have people show up to a location and identify themselves. And yes, I know this might mean going all the way out to Boston. For some reason, I don't want to do that anymore. But also that could be they set up areas like Boston, Worcester, Springfield, and Massachusetts to process drivers. And that this becomes something even for everything else. But I would more think it's going to end up being the state legislators that are going to say, hey, look, if you're doing these, you need to go and show up and identify yourself and fill out the forms for the state. But anyways, this is neither here nor there. And, you know, just predictions for the future. You know, don't try to look behind my eyes. You don't want to know what they've seen. Gotta love Frank Zappa. So, anyways, folks, you have yourself a great day out there in the hustle. I hope you make your money for the day and feel pride that you're not out here trying to hustle people barely, you know. So, bye.